Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and special edition home to the game, Silver Creek Golf Course, located on 104 Bellow Lake Road, Garden River, Ontario. And also shout out thank you to Silver Creek GM Jamie Henderson. Silver Creek Golf Course has many specials to offer for 18 holes, 9 holes, and even Twilight Deal specials. It does not matter what your level of golf game is, it is a must to enjoy the scenic course, memorable experiences that Silver Golf Course offers. Silver Creek also offers a Thursday wing night for you to enjoy food after a stellar time on the course. You can book your tee time by phone or online at golfsilvercreek.com. Silver Creek Golf Course, where all are welcome to play.
The Game Sports Show is pleased to shout out a partner, additional home, and sponsor to Northern Superior Brewing Company, located on 50 Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Northern Superior Brewing Company having a strong presence locally with many beers to offer. With much involvement in the community of Sault Ste. Marie, Northern has a sport and friendly-like atmosphere within its tap room, and during the summer months, it is a must to visit Pier 55 to enjoy some delicious food, amazing view of the water, and view of the Bush Pulling Museum right on the cusp of the Hub Trail, and of course all of that down with a delicious brew from Northern Superior. Northern Superior Brewing Company, it's a northern thing. Booyah, and welcome to the Game Sports Show. Yours truly, David McCaig. It is October the 2nd, 2018, and we're here for a bonus edition of the Game Sports Show, and I'm going to bring in my special panel guest member, Jamie Henderson, also proud partner within the show as well with Silver Creek Golf Course. I'll bring him in just a few moments. He's going to get through some of the basic introduction portions that we usually do on the show. This special bonus edition is brought to you by and powered by Silver Creek Golf Course and also Northern Superior Brewing Company here in Sault Ste. Marie. And you're probably wondering why we're doing a bonus edition on a Tuesday for the Game Sports Show. It is because we have a very special guest, friend of mine, friend of Jamie's, friend of the show, listener of the show as well, and the voice, in my mind, of the Toronto Maple Leafs, Joe Bowen, will be coming on, and we'll have him on in just a few moments. We are going to have him discuss, a little bit going on with his son playing in the NOJHL, but we're also going to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs as their season gets underway, which will be tomorrow against the Montreal Canadians. When you listen to this podcast, you might listen to it later tonight, or you might hear it first thing in the morning here on the 3rd. Either way, we're glad that you are able to come by and also to make us a part of your day. So without further ado, let's get right to it. Hendo, thanks for coming on. We're in our own little private studio here today. So how's things going, my friend?
Good, Kegger. Thanks for having me on again.
Yep, we have a very special guest today, as you mentioned, a friend of yours as well. Unfortunately, Brad Cochimilio or Justin Heiko couldn't join us today. Kind of a rushed bonus edition. Very happy that it's happening, though, especially with NHL season coming around the corner starting tomorrow. But before we get to that, before we bring in Joe in, just going to get you to discuss your season as it's just getting underway, pretty much officially or unofficially, whatever way you want to call it, with the Sault Thunderbirds, Minor Midgets. How's that going?
Yeah, we started a few weeks ago now, and it's been a pretty steep learning curve for a lot of our players. As we were talking beforehand, we have 8 players that played house league last year, so every day we're kind of just trying to get better practice, each practice and each game, and we kind of ran into a buzzsaw in the Sudbury team the last few games, but we've played 5 games plus a couple exhibition games, and I think we're kind of learning what the Great North Midget League is all about, being a minor midget team in a major midget league. And then we've obviously, like I said, we got to play Sudbury now 3 times, the minors, and they have a really strong team. So we're able to kind of see where we need to get to, and but the players have been really keen to learn and anxious to get better every day, and so that's exciting. We have a great staff. We had a great staff last year, and I think this year is even. We've brought even more experience and I think more diversity to the staff. So so far so good. I know it's not always easy when you look in the win-loss column, and we're all competitive and we want to win every game. But I think at this level we have to keep in mind it's more about development. And it's we're proud people here in the Sioux, and for sure we want to have great teams every year. But for one reason or another, there's been a couple age groups who have maybe not been as strong as other years, but high character people, and they definitely want to get better. And so as a coach so far, I've been more than happy with the effort and their commitment to get better, be great teammates, and so far very respectful, and it's been great to get to know their families. So far so good, and we're off to London this week for our first tournament, so we're really excited to get on the bus and get out of town for a few days.
Do you start Friday in London?
We actually play first game Thursday night, so a little bit of a tough schedule. It's such a big tournament, such a marquee tournament. We didn't go last year. This year, we feel like we have potentially, 3 or 4 draft picks and hopefully more, maybe some surprises later on. So we thought as a staff it was important to be able to showcase them at a little more of a marquee tournament. We know there'll be a lot of scouts, but at the end of the day, again, you get a chance to play good teams, and it's a good opportunity for us to learn and continue to develop. So we're excited to get there.
See, before we went on air, I know you kind of touched on Sudbury, the team that you recently just played. You had a pretty good challenge, I like to say, against Sudbury. They are pretty stacked team, as it definitely sounds, a lot of draft picks, potential high picks into the OHL, and the Great North Midget League is still a league that scouts really look at for players. It seems Sudbury, the challenge, is that the crown of that league essentially, or what do you see?
Well, I think when I had heard that the teams were pretty strong beforehand, and then they combined the Nickel City and the Sudbury groups together. So, anytime you're looking at a population double the size of Sault Ste. Marie's, they're going to have a strong team.
Yep.
I would say this year their minor midget team is actually stronger than their major midget team. But, the Great North Midget League thankfully accepted 3 minor midget entries once again this year. And so I think they're doing that with the idea that, these 15-year-old players, when they play the major midgets, will attract scouts to the game. And so maybe there's a 16-year-old, I think of last year's team that we had, a guy like Noah Zeppa who maybe kind of fell through the cracks a little bit. Maybe him playing in the league for our Sioux Thunderbird major midgets, maybe scouts get to see him in another year, and maybe they look at him as someone who they want to draft in the U18 draft. So, hopefully the 3, us, North Bay and Sudbury, bring a little bit more profile to the league in terms of scouting and all that. But, because as we know, there's always players. We think of the Pelons in Sudbury. We think of Mario Kalina back in the day. There's always players that fall through the cracks who don't get drafted at 15, and the message is always the same. You keep working at it, and you want to get there, and you might have the chance, And so that's one thing, I know around town it's not always a super popular that we have two midget teams, but I think it gives more kids an opportunity to play hockey at a higher level.
Yeah.
And so that means we're not always going to be that successful, but it also means that we're giving right now close to 40 kids an opportunity to play AAA hockey. And that's so amazing. Maybe a kid, who isn't quite there at 14, 15, maybe at 17 he is because of this year of development.
Yep.
To me, that's way more important than wins and losses.
Absolutely. And there's one guy I'd like to refer to who's a late bloomer that we know quite well, Colin Miller. The guy is an absolute stud right on the back of the Las Vegas Golden Knights. So you get that opportunity to play. I'm an individual who played AA midget, then I went to end up playing some junior hockey. Like to say modest junior career in comparison to individuals, as you know, because you did coach me. But you get that opportunity to play and develop, and you play junior hockey, major junior hockey, or pro. You get that opportunity, and the run, you make friends as well. Sure. You make friends, and you get to mature as an individual, which is a goal. Yeah,
I mean the thing is, like you mentioned, you played AA, and then you played junior. And Colin, obviously, I think you played high school, and then ended up playing. But for us, obviously we have a really strong junior A system here. That's the Thunderbirds. Who I think, I'm proud to be part of the program. I think putting in kind of the team on the map, so to speak, back in the day, and having some successful teams. And now I see, they're ranked number 2. So for us to be able to develop players to get to that level, then once they get to that level, then maybe there's another level they get to. And you know what? Even if that's the highest level they get to, that's still, a pretty great accomplishment. And they're going to, again, make great friends. It's a great experience, as they get into university, and then as we all eventually get to, real life.
And adulting. And children, especially in your case.
Yeah, so, like I said, it'd be super easy to just say, the teams aren't doing great this year. Instead of just focusing on, the wins and losses, to me, it's way more important to look at the development. And I know 100% there's some players playing AAA major midget this year who, had they not played minor midget last year, would not be playing. So maybe those kids go and play for the junior Thunderbirds in 2 years. And if that's as high as they get, then great. That's to me, that's better than quitting hockey or, going maybe playing men's league at 18.
Men's
You
league,
know what I mean?
yeah.
So hopefully we can continue doing this. We're proud of the work we've put in, and I can say for sure that we're super committed, and I know the players are this year. So hopefully we'll put this little streak behind us here, and we'll kind of look at London as a fresh start for us. And like I said, anytime you get to go as a team on the road to a tournament, totally different atmosphere, and the guys will be excited.
Absolutely. You know what, Hendo, I will say that you are great with the community and not just pumping your tires. You did do a lot with that Thunderbird organization junior as well, and I know that I'm confident that you'll do well with the midget program, and obviously the junior A program is doing well, as you mentioned, being ranked second right now. So the Sault Ste. Marie is working towards getting back to what it used to be, especially in the minor hockey, and that's all thanks to individuals like yourself and to the staff like Brianne Veal, who you brought on this year, Mickey Sotoretto Lane, Dave Scott, who you also brought on, and Mark McCaig as well. So, you got a good staff there, and there's a lot of good influential individuals like DeLuca as well when he coached younger Bantams. There's a lot of coaches that come through and are all still helping out. So, Sault Ste. Marie is still strong, and especially when it comes to the minor hockey and under. So, Jamie, we're going to take a quick break though. The big reason why we're doing the bonus edition here, powered by Silver Creek Golf Course and Northern Superior Brewing Company here on the Game Sports Show, which you're listening on thegamesportshow.podbean.com or on the website thegamesportshow.com or even the YouTube channel. We're going to take a quick break, as I mentioned. We're going to bring in a special guest, voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and also expert in terms of Toronto Maple Leafs and just in hockey in general, Joe Bowen. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. The Game Sports Show is pleased to shout out a partner, additional home, and sponsor to Northern Superior Brewing Company, located on 50 Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Northern Superior Brewing Company having a strong presence locally with many beers to offer. With much involvement in the community of Sault Ste. Marie, Northern has a sport and friendly-like atmosphere within its tap room, and during the summer months, it is a must to visit Pier 55 to enjoy some delicious food, amazing view of the water, and view of the Bush Pulling Museum right on the cusp of the Hub Trail, and of course, all of that down with a delicious brew from Northern Superior. Northern Superior Brewing Company. It's a northern thing.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and special edition home to the game, Silver Creek Golf Course, located on 104 Bellow Lake Road, Garden River, Ontario. And also shout out thank you to Silver Creek GM Jamie Henderson. Silver Creek Golf Course has many specials to offer for 18 holes, 9 holes, and even Twilight Deal specials. It does not matter what your level of golf game is, it is a must to enjoy the scenic course, memorable experiences that Silver Golf Course offers. Silver Creek also offers a Thursday wing night for you to enjoy food after a stellar time on the course. You can book your tee time by phone or online at golfsilvercreek.com. Silver Creek Golf Course, where all are welcome to play.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sports Center Bar and Grill. Sports Center Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sports Center rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sports Center, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sports Center Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
Get Wicked Catering from the crew at the Wicked Sister.
We like to think of ourselves as foodies. While our favorite foods are paired with a beer tasting at the Wicked Sister, you can now have the same creative menu for your next catered business luncheon, family get-together, wedding, or holiday party. Our white truffle risotto appeals to your gluten-free and vegetarian guests. Add sautéed shrimp or freshly grilled chicken for a pop of protein. Or let us build you a custom menu to suit your needs. From plated events of 15 to buffets for 200, the Wicked Sister will cater your event with tapas, snacks, cravables, or a full sit-down dinner.
The Wicked Sister, where you'll be treated like family, whether you like it or not.
Hi, this is Paul Maurice from the Winnipeg Jets, and you're listening to the Game Sports Show.
Well, welcome back to the Game Sports Show. It's Dave McCaig alongside Jamie Henderson. You're listening to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.podbean.com or on the website thegamesportshow.com or on the YouTube channel under Scott Nason. This bonus edition of the Game Sports Show is powered by Silver Creek Golf Course, something that Jamie Henderson is quite familiar with, obviously. And obviously to Northern Superior Brewing Company here in Sault Ste. Marie. And as listeners have been asking, when will be the beer launch for the radio show? We do project that to be on November 1st, the Game Ale to be released, and we are very excited to announce that as well. But without further ado, another thing I'm very excited about, as well as Jamie Henderson, bringing in a special guest who is no stranger to the Game Sports Show. He's been on numerous times, the one and only Joe Bowen. Joe, how you doing, my friend?
Very good, guys. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, we are. We got lots to talk about. We haven't been able to have a conversation really since earlier last season before the trade deadline. Mostly is the last time you and I had a time to chat. And I know you had quite action-packed summer, much like myself, with multiple visits. I think you went down to Notre Dame, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Every year we go, and we went down there, and they kicked the living stuffing out of the Michigan Wolverines.
I was just going to say, how did that game go? Not good for my Wolverines.
Just about the way we thought it would. Thanks very much, Jamie.
I know I had a friend go down to that as well. You know, big a lot of Notre Dame fans around here in Sault Ste. Marie, but I know there's more Michigan fans, and Jamie being one of them. So, Joe, I know you had a pretty busy summer, as we were saying. I know the Leafs also had a busy summer. We're going to get to the Toronto Maple Leafs offseason and some news, and the puck drop tomorrow in just a few moments. We're just going to get to start talking about your son first. I know we talked a little bit off air, but David Bowen, who's currently playing the NOJHL with Rayside, he's played 4 games there. I know he had some time with the Sudbury Wolves last year, played a couple games there, 4 games to be exact. How's everything going with David? How's he liking the NOJHL? And how are things looking to potentially even get called up this year to the Wolves?
Well, I mean, it's a tough position to make any kind of advancement in, really, because there's only 2 of them on a team and only one of them gets to play. And the Wolves made a move that when they acquired Luukkonen from Finland to come over and play, and he's a world-class goaltender playing with the Finnish national team. I guess this was the first year after a while that OHL teams were allowed to dip into the goaltending pool overseas. So David's in a battle with 4 guys, 2 who played there last year, and at this particular point, he's enjoying his stay with Rayside and wondering, if he'll get an opportunity. He played well for the Wolves when he got a chance last year. I know they're very high on him, but at this particular point, they're 4 deep in Sudbury, and David's in Rayside, so he's enjoying that. They're a good team. He's having a lot of fun with the people that are operating it and running it, and we'll keep our fingers crossed. He's going to school as well. He's at Laurentian, so he's got an opportunity here, hopefully, and we'll see what happens.
Joe, Jamie here. Dave and I are both pretty familiar with the NOJHL. I spent some time as a coach in the league and then as a general manager as well, and obviously a lot of players from the league have moved on to the OHL, so I think, as a goalie, would you say probably one of the most important things is, at this age, at 18, just getting a chance to play and in a good league and to see where that, helps them go to the next step?
Well, you're right, Jamie. I mean, you can improve by sitting in the seats. And at this particular point of the guys who are going to be with the Wolves, they're carrying 3 goalies and 1 guy's going to play. And so, as I've said to Dave, I said it's better that you're playing and stay active and wait and see. If there's some movement in the goaltending ranks, well, so be it. But at this particular point, it's important for him to play games. And he's been playing a lot with Rayside, so I would assume that that's going to continue. And we'll wait and see. It's the business of hockey now. He understands that. I mean, minor hockey, you pick 2 goalies and usually kind of split the time with them. But this is the business of hockey. He understands what's going on. I guess maybe it helps a little bit for me have been in the business and understand it as well. So he's quite cognizant of what has to happen for him to get his break. But I said to him, when you do get the opportunity, make the most of it. And we'll wait and see and hopefully keep our fingers crossed. That
kind of leads me, Joe, right in. I was just going to ask you, actually, obviously you've been with the Leafs for so long, but I also know you like to remind people that you had a pretty long career as a goaltender as well. But
that career's not over, Jamie. I played today and I stunk.
Okay. Well, the Unionville Men's League is still going strong, I assume, then. But in terms of, before games, after game, you and Dave speak a lot, after games, and he bounces things off you and kind of use your expertise as much as, we would think that he would.
Well, when I go to watch him, and I try to drive up as often as I can, we have our father-son chat, and then we have our goalie coach goalie chat, and it's usually pretty good. He'll come back to me and say, the second one. That I should have done this, and we have our little discussions. We have little idiosyncrasies that you see, from the stands if you're at least have played the position and understand the position, and you can also understand goals that are scored, and you say, you know what. Number 4 over there made a bad decision, and he let you out to dry. So we kind of commiserate on how bad the defense was on certain goals. But the bottom line is you're paid to stop pucks, and you got to be able to bail your teammates out, and we understand that as well. So we have some good father-son chats, and we have some good goalie coach goalie chats too.
That's always funny. It makes me remember the times in chats I had with my father. I also had chats with Jamie Henderson. Joe, I may not know, but Jamie was actually my coach when I played for the Sioux Thunderbirds here. And
my condolences.
And one thing before we jump into the Maple Leafs discussion, we also touched on this off air a little bit, and it kind of ties into a big show that we're doing in the next couple weeks with Algoma University here in the Sioux, and also the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. The importance of education. And, the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds and Algoma U used to have such a strong partnership with education. And now the couple years that kind of players didn't really go as much. I'm not familiar much with the Sioux College, how that really went. But nonetheless, the players are now starting to go back to Algoma U and go to school and actually utilizing a lot of the Sioux Greyhounds' opportunities to do education. Having a son who plays right now currently NOJHL, but is hopefully going to make the OHL, how important is it for goalies or players, defense, doesn't matter what position, to continue that education if they have that opportunity to be able to do so at the university or college level?
Well, I mean, as far as David is concerned, by playing a couple of games in each season with the Wolves, he's got a couple of years of his education paid for. And I've told him, I said, you've already won the lottery. Yep. The decision to go the OHL route and with the Wolves was fairly easy, because the other aspect that we said that, for a goaltender to go and try to play college hockey, the one thing that happens, you're going to get, your education, and depending on what school you're going to, but when you do get there, the senior is probably going to play all of the games the year you're there as a freshman, and the 3 of you are going to be fighting for the net during practice at the other end of the ring. So it's a tough decision, and for parents to make for everything else. But boy, I mean, even I just listened to an interview today with David Clarkson, whose career is over after 500 and some odd games in the NHL, bad back and various other things, but he has the rest of his life, and a lot of that, and now he's trying to cope with and grope along to see exactly what he wants to get into, but he needs to have his education as well. And so I think it's absolute paramount that players don't just funnel all of their effort into, I'm going to make the National Hockey League, and then be completely disappointed by the fact that they're not good enough. And when that happens, it's going to leave both the player and probably the family bitterly disappointed, but on the outside looking in.
No, for sure. Definitely a lot of kids have that dream and hopeful, and I think it's important to be realistic and also consider having the education. If you have the opportunity, especially have it paid for, it's definitely most important as well. Dave McCaig alongside Jamie Henderson and guest Joe Bowen. You're listening to the Game Sports Show on the GameSportsShow.podbean.com. So Joe, moving on from that side of things, jumping into the NHL now. Now, I like to call this Christmas time for a lot of hockey fans, just one day away. Well, you can actually say 24 hours away, essentially, and some change from puck drop in the National Hockey League. And, of course, the Toronto Maple Leafs, we're going to be discussing here. Obviously, they start the season tomorrow against the Montreal Canadiens at Scotiabank Arena. Now, I must say, before we jump into the game and the Leafs, Scotiabank Arena still sounds very weird to say off the tip of the tongue. I'm going to miss saying the Air Canada Centre, to be totally honest. Nonetheless, they do start at Scotiabank Arena tomorrow at 7 p.m. Now, the Leafs made a lot of moves this year, or this offseason, bringing in John Tavares, obviously. and right now currently today Carolina claimed Curtis McElhinney, Calvin Pickard went to Philadelphia. We have Tyler Ennis, who I'm actually a big fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs bringing aboard as well. You kind of have the contract situation going on with William Nylander, question marks around Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, when that extension is going to happen. No captain named yet. There's just assistants Tavares, Riley, and also Marlowe. Matthews notably not being noted assistant captain. So we're going to try to dive into everything. But the first thing to jump into is just the offseason before we talk about the upcoming game and season tomorrow. What is your reaction and what is your, how excited were you when John Tavares signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Well, obviously it's a huge move, and it's a great move for the organization and for John. And I've known his uncle, who is just one of the best lacrosse players that this country has ever produced. A very big thing for their family. So what it made, I guess, the headlines was that all of the reconstruction that the Leafs had done and the promise and the window of opportunity to be successful in this league was a very big attractive card for John Tavares when his free agency took place with the Islanders. So for him to make a decision that he wanted to go to a place where he had a chance to win, and that place just happened to be his hometown, was a very big factor, I guess, in making the Leafs a very exciting team to be looking at for this coming season. And we're very anxious to get it going here on tomorrow night. And it's, if the window of opportunity is there, you would think, for this organization for the next 5 to 7 years. There's no guarantees that they'll win the ultimate prize, but you should get into the tournament to at least give yourself a chance.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. I know Kyle compares the crazy hockey market of Sault Ste. Marie to Toronto quite a bit. But the one thing I've noticed, and I'm sure you and Ralph either have noticed when you've done the preseason games, I've watched a few of them, especially the other night with the power play. But the one thing I noticed right away is Mitch Marner seems to have an extra gear, and it's one thing that sometimes goes unnoticed by some of the fans is, when you bring in a guy like John, how it affects the teammates. And I think we even seen a little bit of it with that goal that Kadri scored the other night. But you've been watching that level for a long time, and maybe you can kind of let the listeners know. Like, to me, in my opinion, Marner's just ready for a humongous breakout year, and having a guy like that, all of a sudden you get one great player, and he makes everybody around them so much better.
Well, obviously, Jamie, the vision that he has on the ice is ridiculous. It's very, very few players in this league have that kind of peripheral vision to know where everyone is, and then to be able to have the skill set that he has, his ability to skate, his ability to handle the puck in tight areas, his ability to find open space. Really is something remarkable. He'll be the quarterback of the power play, and people like Matthews and Tavares and Kadri are going to be the beneficiaries of his vision. And you're right. I mean, he's come into the league, and every year he's gotten better, and there's no reason to think that he won't be better this year. It was interesting when they asked him about power play. He said, we were second in the league last year, so maybe just duplicating what we did last year will be enough. But I think everybody is anticipating that power play is going to be even better than what it was a year ago. And certainly, if the first couple of games where they have been together is any indication, one would suggest that other teams better not take penalties, because it really did look rather foreboding.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive. The one thing I was thinking of when you're talking about Marner there is from a smaller town here in Sault Ste. Marie, of how kind of special and unique it is to be able to see these players. And obviously, I've been fortunate to work with some of them that have gone through our city here. We were able to see a guy like Mitch Marner and Patrick Kane and guys like that. You get to see London come into town a couple. I remember watching Marner thinking, wow, does he ever remind me of Patty Kane? And now it just seems like, yesterday he was here at it was the SR Center, now the GFL Gardens. But, it's cool to be in these little OHL towns where we get to see these players at 16, 17, 18, and then is it me, or are these players making a much bigger impact at a younger age than they maybe did when I was a little bit younger?
Well, I think because the nature of the game has changed, that the physicality of the game from past decades is not there, that younger players who are able to skate are probably getting an opportunity ahead of time. And that's just the nature of how the game has changed. So having said that, you're probably right. They don't need to, for the lack of a better term, grow into manhood in order to crack a lineup now the way maybe they had to do previously, unless they were absolute superstars. So I think a lot of players are getting moving on quickly. And the other aspect of that is that teams are maybe accelerating their youth movement because of the salary cap, because these players, at least in the early going, are going to be a lot cheaper.
Yeah, for sure. I was just thinking, we know how crazy the market is there, and I spent close to 10 years, Markham, Unionville, all those areas, my time in Angus Glen. And where's your sense of how, and I'm sure all these years you've allowed yourself to think what it would be like to see that Stanley Cup parade, but where is this excitement? I'm 41. I can't think of a season ever with this much optimism. You're there. You obviously talk to a lot of people there. Where is this year? Where's Leaf Nation, as they call it? Where's the optimism? Where's the excitement level this year? Can you remember a year where there was this much optimism?
Well, I suppose there were a few, but I don't think that it has ever been ratcheted up quite like this. And for a lot of reasons now, not the least of which are 2 all-sports radio stations and 2 all-sports television networks trumpeting and playing all kinds of things regarding the Maple Leafs over the course here of this summer, getting prepared for this year. But after the 93 run with Gilmore and company, I think everybody was pretty excited about 94, but everyone also realized that the window of opportunity was probably not as great because that was an older team. I think a number of Pat Quinn teams were, looked upon as being, this could be the year as well. But I think what makes this so much more entertaining is that it's being driven by a real impressive youth movement, and that it's not just a 1-year window of opportunity. This could be 5, 6, 7 years where they're going to get an opportunity to, as I say, get in the tournament at the end of the year, and once you're in the tournament, then you just never know what might happen.
See, I know there's so much. I can't even, just to roll off what you're saying, I remember the game against the Carolina Hurricanes in the conference finals. That's one that always sticks out where the Leafs were just close. That almost making it. Obviously, the Detroit Red Wings won the Cup that year, and the Carolina Hurricanes, I didn't think even really matched up against Detroit that year because Detroit was an absolute powerhouse. But I got to agree that this might be the most anticipated year other than that, for sure, with the Leafs. And I already know people are planning the parade, but I know a lot of editions of the show I've stated, hey, let's not get too excited. Let's, just enjoy this moment, and really enjoy what this team has really become. Because just a couple seasons ago, we were drafting first overall for Austin Matthews and not even relevant, being higher up in the league. So, bringing in John Tavares, and that's really massive. And to have the fans' excitement, which is great, and just sends chills down my spine, which obviously does to everybody else. But one thing that is kind of missing that kind of really confuses me, Joe, and I really want to get your opinion on it, is on William Nylander. Now, I know that I'm not his agent, Jamie, or yourself. There's other sides to the spectrum in terms of media saying one thing, an agent and a player wanting something else. And I must give a lot of kudos to Kyle Dubas, because I'm hearing a lot of rumors that Dubas is really firm where he wants to stand, and also so is William Nylander's party. So what is your opinion about him not being a part of the team as of yet at camp, and not being at puck drop for the season opener tomorrow?
Well, that's the business of hockey. William Nylander, unfortunately for him, is the first of the youngsters who is at the bargaining table. And management realizes that what they end up paying him is going to then reflect very quickly upon Mitch Marner and then Austin Matthews. And so as a team, they want to be able to keep all of them, knowing that if they acquiesce to Nylander's demands, that they probably will not be able to do that, what with the salary cap and everything else. So he's in that position. I mean, his dad was a bit of a rogue for salary times as well in the league, so I'm assuming that both agent and parent are probably very much involved in this. Yeah. However, as far as William is concerned, he hasn't lost a dime. But as of tomorrow night and tomorrow, that will start. And then it'll be interesting to see who blinks first or who decides to do what. If the Leafs get off to an 0-10 start, well, then there's going to be a lot of pressure on Mr. Dubas. If the Leafs get off to a regular start and people like Tyler Ennis are playing well on Matthews' wing, well, then the pressure's definitely going to be on William Nylander. The unfortunate aspect of it is that Nylander has missed a lot of playing time and a lot of practice time. And I know he's young and everything else, but I haven't met an athlete that just sat on the sidelines and then just decided to jump in and was effective right away. And that will be an interesting situation to see what happens when, in fact, he does sign. So, having said that, it's the business now. And salary cap means that the Leafs can't outspend teams. And so William Nylander is going to have to understand that, or Kyle Dubas is going to have to understand that, depending on which one blinks.
Yeah, Joe, I think the outsiders and us diehard fans, I think everyone would look at a player like that, or even Mitch when his contract comes up, and I think the easy thing for a lot of us would say, well, why wouldn't they take a hometown discount? And, especially a year where there's so much excitement and you just want to get off to a great
here's
start.
The other thing: if William Nylander signs a contract and takes the hometown discount, and then the Leafs decide that, you know what, at the trade deadline, we need to trade one of our young players and we're going to go after a defenseman. Well, then you send him off packing to some other locale where he goes, this isn't the hometown I was thinking about.
Exactly. I was just going to go with that. It's easier for us to say that, but, a lot of it, there's no security, in professional sports, whether it's injuries.
This is the business of hockey. Yep. And you put a price tag on what you think you're worth, and the club puts a price tag on what they think you're worth, and you hope that somewhere in the middle you come to an agreement. But until everybody starts feeling the pressure, of which there has been absolutely none, but that will start tomorrow, then we'll find out where everybody's going to. I mean, I think I could live with $6 million a year for the next 8 years. I'm pretty sure I could make ends meet. I'm not sure William Nylander thinks he can. I don't know. But that's where one of the great lines Harry Neal had, and I agree with it 100%. This league and this game is a lot more fun if you don't know what everybody makes.
Yeah, it is. Hey, $8 million a year, Joe. You can go to a lot of Notre Dame games too, as well.
Yeah, I could buy half the stadium.
You know what, Joe? I could kind of get a sense. I mean, obviously, coaching as I do, I have, Mike Babcock's, I think, kind of been someone I looked up to, and I pay attention. I watch a lot of his videos when he does speaking engagements in the summer and that kind of stuff, but I don't know if you would agree with me or not. I kind of got the sense with a few of his last press conferences. I think as a coach, I could start to sense a little bit of his frustration that, I think he understands, I'm pretty sure I know he understands what kind of opportunity they have. And, there's so few opportunities in professional sports to have a great team. And as a coach, you just want to have all your guns there. You want to get off to a great start. You want to make sure everybody's on the same page. You know as well as I do that a lot of athletes who miss camp, they tend to get some injuries during the year, unfortunately. Hopefully that, knock on wood, that doesn't happen. But do you get a sense that Coach Babcock is getting a little bit frustrated?
Well, I think any coach, their business of hockey is in the dressing room and between the boards. They, unless they're the coach and general manager, they don't give two fluies. They operate under the guys that Harry Neal does. They don't care what you make. They're going to put the lineup together that they think gives them the best chance to win. Now, Mike Babcock's had the luxury of a long-term deal. Other coaches are on a shorter leash and really understand that kind of axiom of it. And I'm sure that he's frustrated that he can't put what he thinks is his best lineup out there to start game one against the Montreal Canadiens tomorrow night. But having said that, that's the business of hockey. He understands it as well. And it will be interesting to see when William does come back, where, in fact, Mike Babcock decides to fit him in. So that is all part and parcel of what's going to happen once the deal is actually struck.
It's Dave McCaig alongside Jamie Henderson and Joe Bowen on the Game Sports Show. You listen to the Game Sports Show on the GameSportsShow.podbean.com. And Joe, just a couple more things. I know you kind of alluded to this about a handful of minutes ago when you were talking about William. You didn't say this was happening, but you kind of touched on that if the Toronto was at the deadline, they had to trade one of the youngsters away for a defenseman or something. When you said defenseman, I know you and I have talked about this on the show a couple times actually, and a lot of criticism was given to Toronto and a lot of, I would like to say, very rude social media tweets to Jake Gardiner and Nikita Zaitsev when they were in Boston when they lost Game 7 there. But nonetheless, this is I heard a lot of sports outlets, like especially I'll even name drop on Tim and Sid on Sportsnet. Sid Sixero was pretty harsh when it came to talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs defensemen, and I know that's been an area of concern for a lot of fans. And I know you've been, pretty good believer in this team on the D-core, and I've been kind of honestly in the middle, and because of how big of a juggernaut it is up front and how good they are in goal with Freddie Anderson. The Leafs D-core, do you see Kyle Dubas, being active in that trade front for a D guy, or do you think this D-core that Toronto currently has, with that new recruitment of Igor back there, even, do you think this D has improved, or can this D-core be the type of D-core that can get you past the Boston Bruins the first round, or past the Tampa Bay Lightning, or even get to the Stanley Cup final?
Well, that's hard to say. They're, I think, going to give some of the young players that were so successful with the Marlies an opportunity to at least play. And I don't envision any changes to that defensive core until maybe the trade deadline, at which point we'll probably have a lot better feel for how they have developed and how they're playing. And if you have to puck a lot more, your defense doesn't nearly have to be as good. So let's hope that the offense is something that's going to give its defense core a little bit of a breather at times, and maybe give Freddie Anderson a number of games that were not giving him the 40-shot barrage that he faced on a number of occasions last year. So I think they're going to give them an opportunity to see what they have. And I think most of the time you have to improve from within. And they've had a team that won the Calder Cup last year, so why not give those kids an opportunity to play? They're doing that with Garrett Sparks, who did everything that he could possibly have done a year ago by winning all of the goaltending awards and then going to the Calder Cup and winning it. So I think that if you're going to have a team, a minor league team, where you want to improve and earn your jersey, then you've got to give these guys an opportunity to play.
One thing, Joe, a popular sentiment, as you know, is, and as Dave just touched on, is, it's not easy to go out even if you wanted to get a defenseman. I mean, there's 30 teams that would probably gladly take him, but the top end guys. And
that's why, Jimmy, you have to improve from within.
Yep, absolutely.
You've got to develop these kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just going out, and you're probably getting a retread of a guy that's not going to be either around, or probably his best years are past years, because teams don't give them up.
Yeah.
So
I think back to Pittsburgh picking up Hainsey, who's now obviously with Toronto, local guy here, lives here now, Trevor Daly, guys like that. There's just the Drew Dowdys of the world. I mean, it was it doesn't happen every day that a guy like Erik Karlsson gets moved, but I think Jake Gardiner is one of those guys, as we all know. There's always a whipping boy in Toronto, and I think he's one of those guys. I've always said it. When he's gone, we'll say we need a puck-moving defenseman who can skate, and everyone will say, "Well,
true.
there was one." Then we just had Jake Gardiner, and so he's been. I think we've been able to watch him kind of mature in the league, and obviously he had I think, as he would admit, not so great Game 7, but I think he's going to come back and have a great year this year. I really see him and especially when you think about the guys up front with the Tavares and not to forget, when you get a guy like Tavares, the one thing I've noticed, and I'm sure you and Ralphie have noticed, I have seen such a bigger commitment from these guys, whether you want to call it tracking now, back checking, whatever you want to call it. These guys want the puck. I remember Gretzky saying one time, when he wanted his puck and everybody else can fight for it. Like, these guys want the puck, and they won't play in the defensive zone as much as maybe past teams have, and that should help. That should help out the D-corps, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think they're going to get every opportunity to show their stuff. It should be a great year. So, and guys, I've got to run because I have to do another interview. We didn't realize we're going this long.
Yeah, we're going. Yeah, we'll let you go there, Jojo. I know we stayed a little bit longer. We definitely appreciate you taking the time to come on by. We'll definitely have you on again. So once again, thanks for coming on by here on the Game Sports Show.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
See you, Joe.
So it seems, Jamie, that we kind of went over time, but that's good. Good stuff. Joe coming on for a little bonus segment. We knew he had something going on, but we went into the 31-minute mark here. Plus, we had him a bit before. So definitely the Toronto Maple Leafs, just to close off everything, start tomorrow against the Montreal Canadiens. Projected lineup, you have Ennis, center where Nylander is supposed to be. Levo is supposed to be with Nazem Kadri, Connor Brown. Then you have Kapanen on the fourth line, essentially, with Lindholm. And you're also looking at potentially down there Johansson. So this offense is looking pretty good. The D-corps, you have Gardiner, Zaitsev, who are going to be potentially pairing. Dermott probably playing with either Igor Orziganov, I still can't pronounce that name, or if Justin Holl squeezes into the lineup. And then you got Morgan Riley with Travis Dermott. Apparently there's a lot of mix and matching, obviously, with Freddie Anderson going in between the pipes. Montreal Canadiens, definitely a team that are on the rebuilding side right now and made some controversial moves and have signed or have made Shea Weber their captain. So it's definitely a lot of things have gone in the NHL, but the Leafs right now going against the Montreal Canadiens, what are you expecting yourself from the opener tomorrow?
Well, I mean, I think the rink will be buzzing. I know I'm excited. I actually have a night off to be able to watch it. I won't be at the rink myself, so I'm super excited for that. And there's always a great buzz for any season, but especially this year. And I actually was able to watch a game last year on St. Patrick's Day with Toronto and Montreal, and it's always a special feeling when there's two original six teams, and I've been fortunate to go to Montreal a few times and watch Toronto Montreal. And we grew up with that, when we're kids. I know my son right now has the little book with the sweater book or whatever, the Toronto Montreal stories. So it's kind of something we grew up in. I remember reading that when I was a little kid, and so I'm excited. It's a great time to be a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. It's been, for my generation, it's been a lot of lean years. Yeah. I don't find that it's fair for my 1-year-old son to be just born right into this great team, but it'll be great. I'm really excited, and you can tell with by Joe's voice, he's excited even in the lean years. Yeah. So there'll be some pretty exciting calls, and that's the cool thing about social media. We get to hear all the great calls, and to be able to watch the coach in me, to be able to watch a coach like Mike Babcock and learn and see the new trends and new things or new moves the guys are trying, and a guy like John Tavares, where I'm always trying to watch and learn and see what we can bring to our up-and-coming players, players that we might have drafted this year on our minor midget Thunderbirds. So I'm excited for that, and I know they're probably sick about me talking about the Leafs already, but it's a cool time to be a hockey fan in general. There's just a lot of exciting young players, and to me, the game has changed in such a great way. The physicality and the fighting, all that was fun, but I think I think we're ready to move on from that, and the skill these kids display at a young age. The Mitch Marner's 19, 20 years old, and like I said earlier with Joe and you, is we're lucky and we're fortunate here to be in an OHL town where we get to see these up and coming players, and the Barrett Haytons locally, the Morgan Frost. So these guys are going to be paying $200 or $300 in a few years to watch them in NHL games. So you might as well head down to the Gardens.
No, I think it'd be good. I like the name the Gardens. Unlike the Scotiabank Arena, I'm still on the fence about the name of the Scotiabank Arena, but that is a business. After a lease comes up, that is the way it goes. And I would have liked to see it be called the Maple Leaf Gardens again. That would have been cool to bring back an older name, but that's just me bringing back older names. Hendo, I'm going to let you slide as well. I know you got to get going, and I appreciate you stopping by. I know we kept Joe a little overtime as well, but definitely appreciate you stopping by, and we'll have you on in the near future.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Of course. So this is Dave McCaig. Listen to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.podbean.com. You're not done with me yet. I still got to do the conclusion portion of the show, so we're taking a quick break, pay a few bills, sip a few drinks, and we'll be right back after these messages.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and special edition home to the game, Silver Creek Golf Course, located on 104 Bellow Lake Road, Garden River, Ontario. And also shout out thank you to Silver Creek GM Jamie Henderson. Silver Creek Golf Course has many specials to offer for 18 holes, 9 holes, and even Twilight Deal specials. It does not matter what your level of golf game is, it is a must to enjoy the scenic course, memorable experiences that Silver Golf Course offers. Silver Creek also offers a Thursday wing night for you to enjoy food after a stellar time on the course. You can book your tee time by phone or online at golfsilvercreek.com. Silver Creek Golf Course, where all are welcome to play.
The Game Sports Show is pleased to shout out a partner, additional home, and sponsor to Northern Superior Brewing Company, located on 50 Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Northern Superior Brewing Company having a strong presence locally with many beers to offer. With much involvement in the community of Sault Ste. Marie, Northern has a sport and friendly-like atmosphere within its tap room, and during the summer months, it is a must to visit Pier 55 to enjoy some delicious food, amazing view of the water, and view of the Bush Play Museum right on the cusp of the Hub Trail, and of course, all of that down with a delicious brew from Northern Superior. Northern Superior Brewing Company. It's a northern thing.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank a list of additional sponsors. North Shore Sports and Auto, new location located on 647 McDonald Avenue, Sault Ste. Marie. A family-owned and operated business with doing business in Sault Ste. Marie for over 10 years. Loads of products available for your enjoyment for all seasons. North Shore Sports and Auto, we understand the importance of quality service and products, and we work hard to ensure that all customers have a positive experience before and after each and every sale. North Shore Sports and Auto, meeting all of your new and pre-owned equipment needs. Special thanks to Salon. The Salon, located on 589 2nd Line East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Mike Cuglietta. Book your appointment today at 705-941-9191 or via online at https://thesalonsioux.as.me-. The Salon, making the Sioux beautiful, one haircut at a time. As well as a shout out to the Sioux Pee Wee Pro Shop. The Sioux Pee Wee Pro Shop, located inside the Community First Credit Union Sioux Pee Wee Arena on 285 Northern Avenue East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Jeremy Paquin and ran by Larry Monroe. Sioux Pee Wee Pro Shop, for over 40 years, meet all of your skate sharpening, skate repair, and hockey needs. Also to Discover the Canvas. Discover the Canvas, located on 317 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. A beautiful new renovated building owned and operated by expert artist and Sioux native Katrina Thibodeau. Katrina taking her talents of the ink in Sault Ste. Marie and truly creating the best and most realistic art locally. Call Katrina today at 705-450-8099 or email her at discoverthecanvas@gmail.com to book your tattoo or consultation today.
Hi, this is Joe Bowen, and you're listening to the Game Sports Show from Sault Ste. Marie.
Well, welcome back to the Game Sports Show. It's David McCaig. You're listening to the Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.podbean.com or on the website, thegamesportshow.com, or on the YouTube channel under Scott Nason. I want to say thank you again to Joe Bowen for taking the time. He went a little bit overtime. We were only expecting him to be on for about 15-20 minutes. We went to the 31-minute mark, and we appreciate Joe working a little bit of overtime and doing some overtime with us on the Game Sports Show. And we'll definitely have Joe on, obviously, again in the near future. And also I want to say thank you to Jamie Henderson, who is also no stranger to the Game Sports Show, as he is a part of the show in terms of being a partner and sponsor, as well as Silver Creek Golf Course. And when we can get him on the show as well to be a guest talking about the Sioux Thunderbirds minor midget program, and also to join us on the panel once in a while, especially with these special interviews. This bonus edition of the Game Sports Show has been brought to you by, empowered by Silver Creek Golf Course and by Northern Superior Brewing Company here in Sault Ste. Marie. This bonus segment, we appreciate the listeners taking the time to listen to this bonus segment of the Game Sports Show. And what better way to do it than the day before the regular season gets underway, when puck drop happens at Scotiabank Arena with the Toronto Maple Leafs and just the NHL in general. And you, the listeners, how excited are you for the season to start? Comment below or send me a message on Facebook or any kind of social media, or even to Jamie Henderson to comment about what you think for the upcoming season. Also, follow the Game Sports Show SSM on Twitter, as this year we'll be going to have weekly pools and potentially weekly prizes given as well for listeners if they follow the page and also participate in the weekly pool. Also, we're going to have a chance to do other pool draws as well, leading up for the entirety of the NHL season, then going into the playoffs, so we will certainly have a NHL playoff pool as well. So keep an eye on that Instagram uploads, as the Instagram page is fresh and new with the Game Sports Show. We're just getting everything going underway with that Instagram page, so please remain patient with that as we continue to ascend that in the right direction and get all that promotions launched as well. Prizes to be donated from many sponsors that are part of the Game Sports Show. Now, I want to take this conclusion portion to talk a little bit about the Toronto Maple Leafs myself, and also to promote some future shows with the Game Sports Show. Talking about tomorrow with the Montreal Canadiens and Toronto Maple Leafs starting the season, I could not explain or express how much excitement that is going through my veins right now, and the shivers for this upcoming season for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, everyone that is a faithful listener to this show, and everyone who knows me in general, and also Justin Heichel, and also Jamie Henderson being Toronto Maple Leaf fans, also other panel members, Dane Hancho being an Oiler fan, Brad Kochmilio being an Oiler fan, Dustin Granda an Oiler fan, you have Jamie Antonello, who's a Hawk fan, and the list goes on with the amount of hockey followers we have here on the show in terms of panel members. But you, the listeners, a lot of Leaf fans here in the Sault Ste. Marie region, obviously being Canadian, and the Toronto Maple Leafs being the hockey mecca of the world, playing another high media team with the Montreal Canadiens tomorrow night. This season is going to be a season to enjoy and to watch. Now, obviously, we couldn't get to much more conversation with Joe because we kept them longer than we were supposed to. But with the Toronto Maple Leafs season, I am keeping bay. I am going to keep my excitement mostly inside. I'm not going to absolutely scream, or I'm not going to put myself through agony and thinking that this team's going to win the Stanley Cup. Are they in the right area to win the Stanley Cup? Absolutely. I'd be silly not to agree with that. But the Toronto Maple Leafs are up against a lot of good teams this year. The Tampa Bay Lightning. Boston is still a pretty good hockey team. The Washington Capitals are a good hockey team. The Pittsburgh Penguins are a good hockey team. A lot of improvements from Philadelphia as well. When you look at the Western Conference, you got Vegas who's still going to be there. The San Jose Sharks, who are going to be there as well. The Winnipeg Jets, Nashville Predators. There's a lot of good hockey teams. Now, I think Toronto Maple Leafs are in those kind of teams' realms. I think they're just as good as all those teams that I have mentioned and will contend. But I'm going to sit here. I'm going to sit at a bar. I'm going to sit at North Superior Brewing Company, Silver Creek Golf Course, Sports Center Bar and Grill, or a friend's place, wherever I'm sitting to enjoy the game, maybe even in the seats of the Scotiabank Arena, or if it's at Little Caesars Arena, which I plan to go see Little Caesars when the Leafs play the Wings in February, to be totally honest. But getting back on track, wherever I'm going to be enjoying the game, I'm going to enjoy the talent that is on the ice and that the Toronto Maple Leafs are providing to us. And this team will make improvements throughout the year if necessary. If Dubas needs to add a defenseman, he will do it. He will do it smartly. This is a boy genius in the National Hockey League, and luckily is from Sault Ste. Marie, so we get to enjoy that as well, especially if you're a Sault Ste. Marie resident. So, will the Leafs win the Stanley Cup this year? I don't want to say it. Does that mean I think they're going to win the Cup? No. Does that mean I don't think they're going to win the Cup? No. That means I'm just remaining at bay and being optimistic that they have the team to be able to win the Stanley Cup. I do think they're going to finish at least in the Final Four this year. In NHL 19, had a prediction come out here today, as was posted and by EA Sports. The Toronto Maple Leafs defeated the San Jose Sharks in 7 games to win the Stanley Cup, was the prediction. And if you listen to the Game Sports Show on Monday's edition that just previously passed with myself, Scott, EJ, Butch Davis, that you can find on a previous.com or on the website or YouTube channel, that is the Stanley Cup final that I predicted was going to occur. And I didn't pick the winner because I didn't want to jinx anything or anything of such. But I am confident that this team is going to be a Stanley Cup contender and is in that conversation to win the Stanley Cup this year. And for anybody who disagrees with that, if you disagree with that, I want to talk to you. I want to know why you think that. I understand their decor is not where it's supposed to be. Sid Sixero said that pretty loudly and abruptly on his Tim and Sid edition a couple weeks ago. And he did bring up a lot of good points. He did. Okay, but let's get real. I think the vision that Dubas is doing is letting his youth develop from within on defense. He's being smart about what's on the open market, potentially signing or trading somebody for when the price is right. And he's relying on Anderson having another good season, which I'm confident will occur, and that their offense is going to let them have a lot more puck possession. Now, on the show, I do a lot of discussion about Jake Gardiner and how he was put under the bus and how even I put him under the bus for a lot of his performance. But let's lay off, Leaf Nation. I understand it's frustrating at times to watch him and some other defensemen play, and this is not a decor that is as good as the Winnipeg's decor or Nashville's or even San Jose's. It isn't. Let's get real. It isn't as good as Carlson, Burns, and Vlasic on the back end. It isn't as good as having Trouba, Bufflin on that back end. It's not as good as having Subban, Ellis, and Josie on the back end with Nashville. The thing is, the Toronto Maple Leafs have defensemen that are good enough to play in the National Hockey League and that can get the job done. When Pittsburgh won the Cup against Nashville, they were without Letang, and only Mata wasn't 100%. They had Ian Cole, Trevor Daley. They had guys back there that were not big household names. They just played defense and got the job done. The type of players that Ron Hainsey is. Hopefully Igor is that type of player as well. And Morgan Riley hopefully continues to mature and be a leader on that back end. Jake Gardiner, he's really going to rely on, if he plays with Nikita Zaitsev, for Nikita to come back and have a bounce-back year, because his year last year was atrocious. If Nikita comes back and plays the year that he had his first year, then this decor is going to be pretty fine this year. And that they're going to win a lot of hockey games, and they have a chance to get 50-plus wins. If Nikita and Jake don't play at their hot stuff, that can cause a couple wins for the Leafs and cause them a second or third place in the division. I've said it, though. On live radio, I said that the Toronto Maple Leafs were going to finish behind the Tampa Bay Lightning this year, and I am going to stick behind that. I am going to stick behind that as saying that, but I do believe that Toronto has the capability and will move beyond the Atlantic Division in the playoffs this year, which means that I do believe they will beat Boston and Tampa, as I feel their second-round opponent will be Tampa and their first-round opponent will be Boston. Will I be right? We'll just have to find out within the next how many months. You have 6 to 8 months. We have November, December, January, February, March, April. That's 6 months. So that will remain to be seen where the Toronto Maple Leafs fall and land, and where the season's going to take them when it comes to the trade deadline as well, for what they're going to add and throughout the season. I have my eye on William Nylander's contract still, and we're going to talk more about that on the Thursday edition of the Game Sports Show at Northern Superior Brewing Company, and just going to get to that agenda in just a few moments, just to conclude the thoughts with the Toronto Maple Leafs in this season. Excited for the puck to drop tomorrow night. Excited for Hockey Night in Canada to be back. I'm excited for the whole National Hockey League to be back, and a lot of new faces to a lot of teams, and a lot of excitement going into this season. A lot of players. I got my on, a friend and a listener of the show, Colin Miller, and hopefully he has another good season. Kyle Dubas, his first season as GM of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Trevor Daley with the Detroit Red Wings, how he's going to be around that team who is on the rebuilding side of their, let's just say, their organization. Not as bad as Montreal and Ottawa is, in my opinion, however. And a lot of trades might happen this year. You have the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are subject to a lot of trades, but they're also a team who's supposed to be quite competitive this year as well. And now Anaheim Ducks without Corey Perry, are they going to be moving some of their defensemen? Is Toronto going to target them for some trades? Or other teams. It's going to be a very, very exciting year in terms of on the ice action, teams finishes, a lot of goals put on the board, I feel, as well as I think it's going to be a very offensive year in the National Hockey League, especially in the Eastern Conference, especially when it comes to the Atlantic Division. Who's ready for puck drop? Because obviously I am. Joe Bowen is. Jamie Henderson is. The boys here on the Game Sports Show. I know you, the listeners, are excited. The puck drop could not happen any faster or come any faster. I'm very excited for 7 p.m. as the Leafs host the Montreal Canadiens at Scotiabank Arena. Now, just going to promote some upcoming shows with the Game Sports Show and agendas just for your information to mark down on your calendars. Obviously, here being the bonus edition that we're going to have a little bit throughout the season. Now, people are wondering how many bonus editions we're going to have. Now, bonus editions will occur at random. I did promote it yesterday on the Game Sports Show Live on Eagle 95.1 and on the upload from the Wicked Sister yesterday. But when it comes to having special guests on the show, we will have special uploads when it comes to that. As well, we will have special edition shows when it comes to game reaction, pre and post game with the Sioux Thunderbirds Junior A team and also with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, as we'll have sporadic and random uploads throughout the season with coverage at the arenas at the GFL Memorial Gardens and also the John Rhodes Community Center, as well with reactions from players and from coaching staff, and also here on the Game Sports Show panel with myself, Justin Heichel, Dane Hancho when he returns home, Brad Cochimilio, Jamie Antonello, at times also Dustin Grondin and Matt Primo, as well with local high school football coaches as well and players as that season comes to a conclusion, as well as we'll bring in those guests with our Wednesday show. So a lot of special editions will be uploaded this year, as I mentioned at the top of the season beginning back in September. It's going to be a big year for the Game Sports Show, along with a lot of big involvement in the community and our beer launch with Northern Superior Brewing Company. So you don't want to miss out on anything that we have to upload, any involvement that we have, because we'll be doing a lot of uploads and keeping you involved with the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Now, as I was mentioning, getting to the agendas, we will be at Sports Center this Wednesday, and that will be October the 3rd at 9 p.m. Myself, Jamie Antonello, Matt Primo, Dustin Grana, and Justin Heichel, the panel of 5, are expected to be on location, and we're going to be talking about our famous and known in the pocket segment locally and with National Football League, and we'll also have a variety of sports discussion as well. Then on Thursday, myself, Justin Heichel, potentially Brad Cochimillo, depending if he is able to make it, are going to be live at Northern Superior Brewing Company, and we're going to be talking about the NHL as the season will be underway at that time. We'll also be talking about the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds and the Sioux Thunderbirds, and we do plan to bring a guest on from the Sioux Thunderbirds as well, and we're hoping that we have Blake Spears come on for that show as well as a guest on the phone for an interview. So a lot of action-packed news and sports updates coming your way between the Sports Center show on Wednesday, October 3rd, and our Thursday show, October the 4th. And speaking of Thursday, October the 4th, Catch the Ace here in Sault Ste. Marie is going to be over $1 million. What a great thing that has done for this community. I know a lot of people chirp individuals that are waiting on the sidewalk. You know what? A lot of those individuals are people that are off that day, potentially people that are retired, or maybe they did take a vacation day. Or you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe they are not working, but at the end of the day, what the Catch the Ace has done for this community is absolutely amazing. And yours truly is going to be buying a lot of tickets in hopes to win the over $1 million jackpot. Definitely great stuff going on at the Esquire Club with Boomer, and I know Boomer is probably extremely exhausted. It is going down to the last card, which is absolutely insane. So I know on Thursday, come on by Northern Superior Brewing Company or tune into the podcast on the Podbean page, the website, or the YouTube channel until 8 o'clock, as the show is going to be from 6 until 8. And then go to the Esquire Club to await your number to potentially be drawn, as long as you're buying a ticket to enter into the draw for a chance to win $1 million. So again, that's Wednesday, 9 p.m., which October the 3rd for our Sports Center edition. Thursday at 6 p.m. for our Northern Superior edition of the show. And then we'll be back Monday next week at the Wicked Sister, which will be Thanksgiving Day for the Canadians, and obviously not for the American side of the border. But myself, Scott Nason, EJ, and Butch will be on the game at the Wicked Sister from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. And on that show, that's when I will announce the agenda for next week's Sports Center and Northern Superior Brewing editions of the Game Sports Show. Now, when it comes to the Game Sports Show, if you're on the website, veer over to the merchandise section. You'll see that we still have shirts for sale. $25 brought to you by Northern Signs with charities, Northern Quitters in Need, and Big Brother, Big Sister getting your contributions and donations for purchasing that t-shirt. A lot of swag getting sold. And we're also going to have some new shirts launched soon as well. And you have a chance to get involved and wear them in the community, wear them to the gym, wear them out, wear them wherever you want to go. Definitely sharp shirts to be wearing. And why not represent the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. Once again, I want to say thanks to Joe Bowen for being a part of this bonus edition of the Game Sports Show, which was powered by Silver Creek Golf Course and Northern Superior Brewing Company. I want to say thanks to Jamie Henderson for coming on by as well. I want to say thanks to Scott Nason, the board operator tonight, and to you, the listeners, for making us a part of your night here on the bonus edition of the Game Sports Show, as it was definitely evolved around hockey as the Toronto Maple Leafs and the NHL kick off the season tomorrow, and that is just thrilling and exciting, just to say. And to let that out, what a season it is going to be. And the Game Sports Show will be here to update you every step of the way, and especially in terms of locally in the community with the Sioux Thunderbirds and the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, and also with the Sioux Eagles over in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and with Lake Superior State University Lakers. There'll be a lot of involvement to keep you in, not only in touch with the National Hockey League, but with local hockey as well, with juniors, the OHL, and the NCAA. Until our Sports Center edition tomorrow night, this is Dave McCaig signing off. Keep your stick on the ice, swing your bat, catch a touchdown, drain your threes, and shoot your shots. Booyah.